Hey YouTube, it's me once again, John Avenger, and welcome back to another Marvel review. And this time we're going to the sequel that is one of my favorite Marvel sequels of all time. I saw this over 10 years ago in the theater, and I loved it, and I still love this movie to this date. And to me, this is the best live-action Spider-Man movie that's been released so far. That is Spider-Man 2. Yes, this is the DVD, the two discs that came out back in 2004. I really love this movie. You know, this is the Spider-Man movie that we deserved last year when they rebooted the Spider-Man franchise in 2012. Because this did it right. This had one villain, Doc Ock, played by Alfred Molina, who was really good in this movie. You had a freaking fast pace. Spider-Man's in the film a lot. He's not just in it for two scenes. You know, he has a lot of problems. You know, him losing his powers and everything, and his relationships with his family and friends. You know, it all hits a lot in 2 hours and 8 minutes, and it doesn't feel long. The movie is definitely, one of the best films of 2004. Um, it's a sequel that delivered. It improved on the first one. I really enjoyed the first one, but this one I thought was way better. And it just the Sam Raimi really got a lot of good out of this movie. Some people didn't care for the raindrops keep falling on my head. I love that song, so when I hear it in a movie, it doesn't bother me. It kind of lightened the mood since Peter threw his costume in the garbage, um, and didn't want to be Spider Man anymore. And then you hear the raindrops falling on my head. It doesn't bother me because the whole all three of these films have some camp value and it works. So it's not like the ending of the American Werewolf in London where your hero gets killed. Spoiler alert, and then they have ba ba da ba da ba da ba ba da ba da blue moon. That just it's kind of off putting and it doesn't work. Here, it's not at the end of the film; it's in the middle, so it works. And Spider-Man 2 really, one villain is all you need. You don't need three villains. Have a villain we care about. That movie also had one main villain, Ultron, because Von Strucker was in the film for a little bit, then he gets killed, and then Ultron pretty much takes over as the villain, and he works. Here, it works with Doc Ock. The special effects look fantastic in this movie. They still hold up after 10 years. This movie won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects, a superhero film. That hasn't happened in years. I don't even know what the last movie won Best Visual Effects. I think this was it, because Avengers got nominated but didn't win. It lost a Life of Pi, which that pisses me off. But anyway, this movie is really, really awesome. The cast does a spectacular job. J.K. Simmons, I forgot to mention him in the first film. He is J. Jonah Jameson if he was live action. Very funny, very charismatic. The voice and everything. Just he's a great actor. James Franco, I always enjoyed him. I even enjoyed him in Oz the Great and Powerful. Sue Me. He's a good actor. He has a nice smile on his face. The guy knows how to act. His Oscar nomination was well deserved for 127 Hours because I saw that movie and it was really emotional. Kirsten Dunst, here she's a little bit better than the first one because they give her more of an arc. I like Elizabeth Banks, just like in the first one. I've always liked her over the years. The Hunger Games, Lego Movie, etc. She's very beautiful, very talented actress. I agree with Roger Ebert and Richard Roper. They said the best superhero movie I've ever seen. Yeah, that was until I saw that. Yeah, this was one of my favorite superhero films in my teen years. Then once I turned 20 something, and I saw Avengers, it was at the top of the mountain. And no matter what, I will always love this movie. And the reboot, I know they're going to do another Spider-Man film in 2017. I hope they do it right. Take notes from this movie, Tom Holland, because you're playing this character. I know you're going to be young, your younger version of Spider-Man, but please take notes from this movie. This movie did it right. There's some humor in there. The elevator scene is hilarious with Hal Sparks. I like that actor as well. It's a funny scene, and there's really people were laughing in that scene, and they weren't saying anything. Just the looks that they give to each other. It's a lot of fun, and the film, it feels like a Spider-Man movie. Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, Spidey had a lot of one-liners to say, but since I don't like the actor that played him, and the movie had way too much in it to try to set up this universe that didn't pay off, this paid off because even though we got Spider-Man 3, which I'm reviewing next, at least Spider-Man 3 had more focus and it had more action and it wasn't boring. That movie just pissed me off because it was just so convoluted and overstuffed. But this one, it deserves all the money it made. It was a huge box office hit with fans, with critics. Critics gave this like a 90 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes, saying that it's a movie that set a standard for Marvel films, and it did. I still think that this movie, even after 10 years, the movie still looks good. The soundtrack, I like the soundtrack in the movie. I like the score from Danny Elfman. I don't mind the score. I know some people didn't like the score. I didn't like it in the James Horner score, rest in peace, from Amazing Spider-Man. But this one's the score, I liked it. Um, the action sequences work very well. The scene with the train is still one of the best scenes I've seen in a superhero film, which they did rip off in another film or try to homage it or something like that. I mean, you know, don't copy a film that's this good. It's hard to copy greatness when it comes for Marvel. And with the flack that Marvel gets now from certain people online saying, "Oh, they just make the same movies and they just throw in humor because they want to be cartoonish." No, they want people to have fun in the theater. That's why Marvel keeps making these kinds of films, because they know people will go watch them, and they click with them. Just take a look at Ant-Man. Like this movie, Ant-Man beat the odds. It took a concept that could have been ridiculous, and the movie was a huge success, and people connected to the character. They liked the character, and the story worked well, and it was just, it gave us what we wanted. The Ant-Man was in front and center. So was Spider-Man in this movie. It wasn't that, oh, you see Spidey in the first 10 minutes and then you don't see him for an hour and a half. No, that doesn't work. You have to give us what we want. And this did give me what I want. I still love this movie. I still think it's one of the best comic book sequels out there. This and Captain America the Winter Soldier are on par, I would say. I wouldn't say one is better over the other. I just think they both are on par. They're both excellent, really great sequels to the films that preceded them, because they took what we loved in the first film and amplified it and made more action that we can feast our eyes on. And it was just a fun popcorn flick that I just love. And it wasn't boring. There's movies that are, I think this is a better sequel than a lot of the sequels we get nowadays that are just tons of CGI and uninspired characters and just lame storylines and just a pacing that just is slow as a snail. This one has a fast pace. Things are happening like every 10 minutes. You don't have to wait, oh my God, I'm bored. It's a talking scene. No, it's interesting. It's science talk that I actually, get invested in. And wow, man, I'm glad that I saw this movie in the theater because it was worth my time. It was the first superhero film I saw in the theater by myself. And I will watch more of them. So that is my thoughts on the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Problems, well, I wish that Spider-Man 3 was handled a little better, just, in certain things, that we could have had two great sequels and, people shit on the third one. And in a way, I can't blame them. In a way, I can, because, I enjoy the film. I know it has a lot of problems, but, it could have been better. I know it could have. But this is a great sequel. And, a lot of sequels should take note of this. Also, yeah, there were characters that I thought were kind of, underused, like MJ's boyfriend that becomes the I think it's the Man Wolf or something like that. That he goes into space. Jake, what's his face? Mr. Jameson's son. He gets underused in this movie, and they could have used him in the third film, but he's never mentioned again. That was kind of a flaw. But I also like Aunt May in this movie. Rosemary Harris. She does a really good job. Very emotional, very supportive, and she has some of the best dialogue in the movie. So yeah, and this movie, it deserves to be on a pedestal. It deserves to be up there with Captain America: The Winter Soldier and The Dark Knight and the Avengers 2 and other sequels that I just love. X-Men 2. When a sequel does it right, it gets my thumbs up. Two of them. So that's my review of Spider-Man 2. Next will be Spider-Man 3. I know a lot of people hate it. There's some things I do like in it, so I'm going to say what I do enjoy in the film next time. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking my videos. Remember, any hateful comments will be deleted, removed. You will be blocked from my channel if you say anything disrespectful. I don't mind you disagreeing, saying, oh, I don't like this movie. That's fine. But if you say something douche like, oh, you can suck on a bag of dicks, no, I'm not going to take that. I will block you. So be warned. But anyway, there's subscribers out there. Keep watching. Thanks for the support. I can't do this without you guys. And next review will be Spider-Man 3. So take care, guys.